when we're ready, we're going to do kind of a 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to kind of gently lift it up into the air, throw it up in the
I want you to stick around here.
1, 2, 3.
Wow. How long was your drive today?
3.5 hours.
Oh.
From Silver City is where we're from. We are one of the only Raptor, which is birds of prey, hawks, owls, and eagles, rehabilitators in the state. And the next closest one is the Raptor Center in Santa Fe. So almost all the birds from the southern part of the state, West Texas, El Paso, all the way to even Alpine, Texas is kind of the area where all birds we get come from. We've been doing this for 47 years. This is my wife, Denise. I'm Denise Miller, and we've had Gila Wildlife Rescue 47 years. I started when I first started teaching high school years ago. Eventually, it kind of evolved into something bigger. Once Denise and I got together about 5 years ago, we ended up having a lot more animals come in. A lot of it was because of the experience that these guys had in the El Paso Zoo being involved. The El Paso Zoo has a wonderful program. They donate time and money, which is amazing for a zoo that I'm sure is short on funds, to do a raptor treatment center. They don't do the rehabilitation. They take in just raptors. That's pretty much all they do, just like us. And they do the initial treatment. And if there's an injury, then they get it to the point where it's healed, and then they transfer it to us, and then we do the rehabilitation and relief. Babies like this great horned owl, they come into us sometimes without any injury, but they've fallen out of a nest and they need help, not predator to catch them. And sometimes it's the parent maybe had something happen to them. Sometimes it's just a big full nest that one of the siblings knocks out the other baby. But either way, we can have them, just like these guys did, picked it up, brought it to, in this case, the El Paso Zoo. I think Hootie had some ear problems. Is that
He had a big infection on his right ear, which we didn't even know.
He had something that happens fairly common with baby owls, and that is maggots infection in their ear, inside their ear. And it can be treated pretty easily, but if it's not caught quickly, then it actually. So it was a great rescue. The bird would have definitely died. I understand that there were a couple of other babies that also had died, which is kind of unusual. My guess is something happened to the parents and they didn't die at all. So that one that you guys found was on its last legs and probably would have died fairly soon.
It was after a big windstorm in April. We think it.
Yeah. Sometimes those big windstorms will just knock them out. So we do a process with babies because we raise, how many baby great horned owls did we have this year? 17, 18, something like that, baby great horned owls that we raised this year. We had also some barn owls. We right now have Swainson's hawks and a red-tailed hawk and things like that. So we have other species. But great horned owls, we raised almost 20 of them this year. And the process is kind of slowly getting them to where they are mature enough to fly. So when we first got Hootie, he wasn't able to fly yet. He was way too young. And so he went into a smaller cage called a muse, some smaller cages, until he's big enough and he starts stretching his wings and starts getting more active. Then we put him in a flight cage. Most people call them aviary. Rehabilitators call it a flight cage. And it's the cage he was in was 80 feet long and 20 feet tall and 20 feet wide. It's a huge cage. We have a bigger one too for eagles that's 100 feet long. So he was actually in there for the past 2 months and a month in the bigger cage. So they get in there and they learn how to fly better. It's not like we have to teach them or anything. It's a natural process. And same way with them learning how to hunt. It's a natural process. Most of the time they kill on their own right away, but sometimes they don't. And so what we do is we put live rats in the cage and the owls get to them. She was in a cage with 4 other owls. And so the other owls were getting the rats, but not her. And so that's why we've had to delay this. We had a a little delay to make sure that she can kill her own food. Imperative that we don't just release them if they can't catch their own food. Only hunt at night. You know, it could be that crepuscular time of day where it's like late evening, early morning, where it's kind of dark. That's actually their better time of hunting. They can have all the way through the night. And owls are so amazing, as you'll see a little bit here. They have silent flight. You've probably heard this, that owls have this really cool process that they can fly totally silent. They have every feather on their body, unlike most others, say a hawk, has these frayed edges. And it looks really pretty. It's not like it's frayed like it's worn, but it's not a solid edge on the wing. It's got little frayed edges to it. And that is their secret. With those frayed edges, they fly silently. We have another owl. We don't name our owls much. She named Hootie. We named this one Mo because he was found in a big vat of molasses. And molasses put out for cattle in our area. And so this owl got in there and was totally covered. I mean, if you get on our Facebook page and check it out, you look for the story of Mo, he was just totally drenched in this sticky molasses. So we had to clean him up and everything, but the end result was, and this was last August, this was a year ago, he still has not been released because he didn't molt his old feathers. And his feathers that he has now, although they're cleaned up, they don't have that frayed edge on them anymore. They were damaged by the molasses and moving the clean room. And so he can't fly silently now. And so it's kind of funny in this cage. Hootie was flying this morning when I was trying to catch her to put her in a box to transport her. And you just totally couldn't hear a whisper. And here comes Mo. Flap, 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 flap. I mean, he's just so noisy. So we have to wait until he molts. Birds molt their feathers once a year, supposedly. He was supposed to have done it in the fall. We think because of the damage he wasn't in. So Hootie is in great shape. She's a big, mature owl now, and even a little older than we normally release these because, like I said, we had to delay this. Yeah. No problem. You can always ask.
Mice or rats, what else do they eat?
That's about it. They will eat a few other things, like they like skunks because most birds can't smell, and especially great horned owls, they could care less. We get injured owls in quite often that smell like a skunk because that's what they've been predating on. They'll eat squirrels, but they don't really like them. The rock squirrels around here, I can't get anything to eat them. Right? They're tough. I would doubt it. Cats, they do like.
Great cat.
It's possible a small chihuahua, possibly, but again, they're out more during the day. Dogs are, and the owls out at night, and so it's the cats that get caught. We've lost a couple of cats ourselves in Silver City that have been eaten in our neighborhood. So it's kind of crazy. All right, we'll take Hootie out in a minute. Hillary's going to get a cool experience here. If you hear that noise there, that's a baby cry. That's what baby owls noise they make. I'm grabbing his feet so you can kind of get a nice display of what this guy looks like. So Hootie is back. As you can see, big mature bird. This is a female because she's a little bigger than some of the other birds we have in the cage. And the didn't like that dog. Males and all birds of prey, hawks, owls, and eagles, the males are smaller. Females are the larger ones. So when you see two owls sitting together and one smaller than the other, it's just the male. That's all it is. So she's kind of imbalanced here, so she's going to hold her wings funny. I don't want her to perch on my hand so she could fly away a little earlier than they want her to. Owls have the biggest eyes of any animal, especially these great horned owls, for the head size. You're seeing about maybe a third of the eye right there. The other third is way up inside of her skull. It's amazing how big they are. And right behind the little tufts of feathers that are kind of their horns, horned owl, right in that black groove right there, right behind it, is this ear opening that's about this long. It's really, really big opening. And that's why they're so susceptible to getting those flies in there and then maggots, laying there, hatching out in there. So that doesn't happen too often. Probably every other year or so we get a bird like that. But it's one of the first things we check when we get one in, even an adult, is check the ears to make sure there's not that infection. Some hydrogen peroxide in the ear forces them right up. That drives them right up. All of them will come out just a little hydrogen peroxide in their ear. But sometimes, like this one, had a little infection that they had to treat as well. So when we do this release, it's really quick. It's all over. So before I let them go and transfer to Hillary, are there any other questions at all? Most of them are, yes. An exception would be barn owls that sometimes roost together, but even then, most of the time, they're solitary. And the male rarely helps in caring for the young. Okay? Like most birds of prey, the female does most of it. Bald eagles are the one that males and females tend to help a lot, but even golden eagles don't do it much. It's the female that, yeah. Yes, sir. 20 to 25 years in the wild. In captivity, less than that, 15, 10, 15, something like that. I'm sure there's records in zoos that are longer, but that's the average, okay? And a lot of it in captivity, these are wild birds that need to be flying free, and it feeds their spirit when they're flying. So if you keep a bird in a cage and he never gets to fly, his spirit dies. And many of the birds in zoos do a lot of good in education and things like that, so I have no problem with it, but they're not going to have as long of a lifespan as a wild bird because of this lack of being able to feed their spirit by flying free. Fairly good. It's going to depend on whether the parents are still around. If the parents are still around, the parents will drive him up. And he'll find somewhere nearby, it may be, quarter of a mile away, half a mile away, but they have a territory that they'll hoot and proclaim. That's what a lot of hooting at night is, just proclaiming their territory. And that tends to force the other birds from coming into that area. And so it kind of separates them all out. Okay? Yeah, I think we're about ready to go. She's had enough.
Do you have a tracker in her?
No. It's something that Fish and Wildlife Service is the only ones that are authorized to do that. So you have to be part of a big research program. And there wouldn't be a real reason. These are a common animal to do that kind of research. And you feel in between.
Shot.
Right in between the legs.
Yeah.
You put your hand right in back in there. Just get a bunch of pictures of her. Denise started doing that. And when we're ready, we're going to do kind of a 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to kind of gently lift it up into the air, throw it up in the. Yeah, me too.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
If you have seen our Facebook page, have all sorts of slow motion release photographs and things we've done. All right, Hillary, your last chance to saying hi. Do you want to say
We
anything?
want you to stick around here.
All right, everybody together. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
And when we're ready, we're going to do kind of a 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to kind of gently lift it up into the air, throw it up in the.
We want you to stick around here.
1, 2, 3.
Wow. I would just like to thank Dennis and Denise first. So there you go. Because we were so touched by everything that you do. And this is one animal. And it just means so much to all of us that you saved one animal and you do this every day. This is a nonprofit that they have. And when we were at their house, we saw all the mice in the freezer and all the things that you spend the money on. They turned their backyard into this amazing sanctuary. There were these birds and other animals are rehab. And so that's why we thought it would be really nice if everybody here could make a donation just to keep what you're doing going.
That's how we survive. It's on donation. We have about a $15,000 budget every year, and 10 to 12,000 of that is just mice and rats. That's all it is. And if you look at about $2 a rat and 75 cents a mouse, do the math. That's a lot of mice and rats, right? And that's every year we go through. So that's what that money goes to. We don't have any administrative costs. Nobody gets paid any salary. Even my truck was paid for by us, not the program type of thing. So it's something we use those donations directly for the bird. We'll actually have a program now, I was going to tell Denise about it, that our supplier for mice and rats, a company called Rodent Pro out of Indiana, I thought it was Ohio, it's Indiana, is offering a program where you can contact them directly and purchase like 20 rats for Gila Wildlife Rescue. So if you're concerned that maybe the food isn't going to us directly, or the money you're giving us isn't going to food directly, maybe we're using it for something you don't want it to, if you just contact Rodent Pro, they can sell it directly and ship it to us. And when I make an order, they'll say, somebody has called and has given you a donation of X amount of dollars. And so we just add that on to the ship.
So how can people make a donation?
So the easiest way to make a donation is we do accept cash and check, but our Facebook page, you can get on Gila Wildlife Rescue, and it is a public page. You don't have to be a Facebook member to access it. There's a PayPal link there to be able to donate back. Send some to Hillary. She knows how to get hold of us.
Yeah, I can do that. I'd rather go straight to you all.
Yeah, that's fine.
That would make me feel. Oh, and then if you want to see their amazing book that has QR codes where you can watch all the releases, or several of the releases of all the different animals and their care, you can look at the one in there in our barn. We have a copy of it, but then you can also buy it on Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon
and Barnes and Noble online also. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's a 500-page book with 500 photographs. It's a very nice big book. And like you said, we can tell a story of like an Eagle 4 that we did have a tracking device on, tracking up to the north and back banks of Alaska and back for 8 straight years. But the pictures are there. But then towards the back of the chapter, there's a QR code that shows his release, that shows the tracker being put on him and all this kind of stuff. So you can see little videos that are connected through YouTube. It's a pretty interesting book. You enjoy it.
One more big round of applause.
Thank you to Hillary and her family and everybody and her friends.